Hey, what's going on, working class hustlers? I have a very, very special guest for you today. It is such a privilege. I've known this guy for years and years, uh, from when I started selling on Amazon, particularly using the arbitrage business model. He and his wife were just so instrumental in, helping to guide me, and they provided such valuable content. It is a true pleasure and a privilege. And you're really going to get a lot out of this. And this is so important. This is so important, guys. You're going to hear me say this probably 50 times in this interview. If you want to be successful in business, you got to have multiple streams of income. Yes, on this channel, we focus on making money, leveraging the power of Amazon. But Amazon is not the only way. And you're going to hear it from anybody who's had any real success at building wealth. It comes back over and over, multiple streams of income. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a special guest that's going to show all of us, me included, we're all going to be exposed to a new way of making money. And it's so critical because what we want is success and what we want is wealth. So let me bring him in without further ado. The wonderful half of the dynamic duo. I knew them as the transformation couple. That would be Matt and Sherry. So we have Matt today, and he's gonna enlighten all of us about an exciting, very exciting way to make money. I know there's money in this because I've done it, so I can't wait to get into the conversation. But first and foremost, Matt, how are you doing today?
Hey, good, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
It is an absolute pleasure, man. I cannot express enough my gratitude. I know how busy you are because I followed you over the years. You got a lot going on. It never stops. So I really want to say thank you on behalf of all the working class hustlers of America and all across the globe. And, before we dive in, a little bit of your backstory that I particularly love, and you used to talk about it all the time. You and your wife come from the multi-level marketing or MLM or network marketing background. Shout out to all my network marketers out there. I know I see you. I know you're doing it. You don't like to talk about it, but there's money in it. But it takes a certain type of person, and I know you guys struggled with it. And by chance, you came into Amazon and had some pretty good success. If you want to give us the Reader's Digest version, a little bit of your backstory, a lot of you, just for the benefit of the working class hustlers who don't know who you are.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So it all started. I had a marketing and promotions photography business. My wife and I, Sherry and I, we've always worked together. And my son was born. And so what happened was my business was centered around traveling. I'd go from, I'm out here in Utah. I go to Texas. I go to Florida. I go to Ohio, right? But my son was born, and I was basically missing seeing my son growing up, and that really pulled at my heartstrings. I didn't want to miss, a single soccer game or anything like that, right? So one day I just said, that's it. I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. And, I unfortunately didn't have a backup plan. So, really struggled. I thought that the key would be internet online network marketing. So we jumped right into it head first, and just 12 months, 13 months of just solid 12-hour, 16-hour days. Ooh. And total failure. We couldn't make, a single penny. Literally, we were working really, really hard, but we weren't really working hard on ourselves, and so, it's like trying to move a big pile of dirt with a wheelbarrow. Mm-hmm. You need a backup, you need leverage, right? And so that's how it was. So we were inches away from bankruptcy. Literally, we were so tight and so close. Every day we were going deeper into debt. A friend of ours started posting on Facebook about how he was doing eBay and Amazon. And we really like that idea because, eBay, Amazon, it's a platform. They already have traffic. They already have buyers, right? So we started to get, actually some results with that, actual sales, right? We were so blown away. Started out with some space heaters. It was it was a cold winter back east, and the space heaters was the shortest supply. So we started selling space heaters out there, and we started to see some success and results. Now, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was actual better than what we were doing. So that kept us going enough to where we started to get into arbitrage. We discovered FBA, which you're not familiar, fulfilled by Amazon. I'm sure a lot of your viewers know. And so FBA, was a game changer for us. Again, we didn't have a lot of room. With a little bit of room that we had on our credit card, we just bought inventory. We're selling it, doing great. We just tried to leverage as much as we can, kept getting more and more into it. And that's how we got started with Amazon. And then we did start a YouTube channel and a big Facebook group that teaches people, just shares people what we were doing. We were doing a specific method called online arbitrage, which is, we're buying from online stores like Walmart or Target or Kmart. I don't know if Kmart's even around anymore, but anyway, we were buying from those stores and just selling that stuff on Amazon. And that's basically the journey.
Yeah, and I came in to your sphere, if you will, right around at the time you were building up your channel. You had what I loved about being a part of your private group. You're talking about, if I'm correct, I'm going to say around 2017, 2018-ish. And what was going on with our phones, the things that you were starting to be able to do, I could be at work and I could log in to a lot of the private group chats and stuff that you guys would have. I love that. And I love leveraging technology, and we're in such a great time to do that. And I knew around that time you guys were doing on a regular basis around 30,000 a month in revenue. I remember that. And you had rock stars that you would feature on your channel that would reach that elusive $10,000 a month. And I know the types of products you were selling. Like myself, I like snack food. And then I niche down into particularly potato chips. It's weird, but it's my lane. You guys sold things like cat food and regular things like that. But then after a while, I didn't see you in that space. I started seeing you in something to do with investing or something like that.
Uh-huh.
What happened with Amazon that made you shift? And this is important to the working class hustlers, because you do need to pivot at times to be successful. You may need to shift. So we want to know what happened with Amazon.
Yeah, for sure. So, Sherry and I, our passion has always been with people. Amazon was never really our passion, right?
Okay.
It was just a way to make money, and what we really want to do, because of our network marketing background, we loved, teaching and getting in front of people and sharing and stuff like that, right? That was us,
right?
And so we made you could say we made the mistake of, we had it at that point where our business was only, literally 8 to 10 hours a month, our Amazon business itself. And it was just running, right? Producing about, 6 or so K profit every single month. Mm-hmm. Awesome, right? That's fantastic. I never heard of that. But we stopped paying attention to it.
Okay.
We made that mistake. And so we had an employee who was sourcing inventory for us. Mm-hmm. And, she was buying stuff that we thought, we're just like, okay, yeah, just go do it. Right. We didn't even follow up and really check with what she was doing. 6 months of this, we're starting to see, Inventory Lab is a software that tells you what your profit is on
Absolutely.
Amazon. We're starting to see thinner and thinner and thinner profit margins. Right. And finally, I said, Sherry, we got to start looking at this. We're, putting a lot of money out and we're not getting a lot back in. And we looked at it and, she had made some bad buying decisions. Part of it was, I believe there was some kind of setting that we had set up wrong as far as the buying criteria, as far as what she was looking for. But there was a lot of slow moving inventory, like, like shoes and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so we ended up having an excess of inventory, not making a lot of money. And, it's one of those points where you could say to yourself, okay, you could go in there and fix it. Right. Mm-hmm. You could just go there and fix it and make it right and get it back up running again. Or you could shut the thing down. Okay. Sherry and I decided to shut it down because it really wasn't a passion of ours anyway. And at the time we were feeling a more, we felt like the teaching space was more the direction we wanted to go. Since we had built a pretty good business inside the information space, we felt like we would like to share how we did that, right? Because it's kind of like the next step, right? Selling on Amazon, but then sharing about teaching selling on Amazon. That's like a whole other business, right?
I forgot about that. I remember now.
Yeah.
But can I interject to my audience for a second? Hustlers, what Matt has shared with us is so important. And listen to what I'm about to tell you, because we're being influenced by commercials, by advertisements, by gurus that keep telling us this stuff about passive income. They keep trying to sell us on the idea that you can get something for nothing, that you can unlock a business where you don't have to put out any type of work. And follow me, hustlers, because here's what it boils down to. We're not talking necessarily about physical labor. We're saying that what I'm saying to you is you do not want to fall into the trap of the passive income trap, thinking that you're not going to have to use your mind, your thought. When you're lazy, what you're really lazy with is you don't want to think. You don't want to put out the energy, the mental energy, which is our greatest asset. So Matt is sharing something important. Business that was doing $6,000 a month didn't pay attention to it. That can happen to any of us. And it boils down to, not paying attention. Key word there, pay, not wanting to pay attention. So don't get caught into the passive income trap. If you want something, you're going to have to put out something. When that little child that you love, that you're teaching, that you don't get something for nothing. And then when you're done teaching that kid, you go looking for something for nothing. It's like, I just had to say that. And now back to you.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I totally agree with that 100%. So basically we shut down the Amazon business, and it was really hard to continue to share about teaching on Amazon, right? I tried to find students that were killing it, and I did that for a little while and have them more do the teaching, because Sherry and I no longer had an Amazon business. So how could we share about how to sell on Amazon, right? Mm-hmm. So we did that for a little while, but we had some relationships that didn't work out. And ultimately, we just decided, let's just close the entire operation down, our consulting business and the Amazon business, and move more into the, teaching space. So we actually got into Facebook ads. I don't know if you remember that, but we were partnered with a person who ran Facebook ads. We got an amazing return on investment with Facebook ads with our information products. So we wanted to share and go into that. That was really tough, because we were finding that, it was hard to transfer that knowledge, because we weren't necessarily considered experts in that space. Right. And so the people that we were bringing on wouldn't really listen to us. I'm not going to blame it on them. I'm just going to say that we struggled with it. We had a challenge with it. And I was tired of seeing people paying us and just not getting a good return on investment. They were very upset about it. I was upset about it. We decided to stop doing that. So, here I am, no income, right? And basically trying to figure out, what to do. And my wife and I are both, just knocking our heads. And, we came to a place, I've made so many mistakes, Horace, and I'll tell you, just a lot, right? Here I am, I'm desperate now, again, trying to figure out how to make money. So I got into, like penny stock trading, for example, right? Investing and then after that, I got into investing into, crypto, right? Crypto coins and stuff like that. And, at the end of the day, didn't make really any money. In fact, mostly just lost money. And so, that's how that went. And, that's honestly how it went. I mean, guys in business, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes.
This is so valuable, Matt.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love being transparent. Yeah. And I will tell my guys, you're looking at, I'll be 54 years old next month, and I still struggle. Okay. I still make mistakes. Those mistakes you have to pay for. A price must be paid.
Yes.
So
for sure.
And you can have things going good today, and tomorrow can be different. That's why I wanted to bring you on here to talk about these things. I always come back when it comes to the working class hustlers. There's one thing that I always want is realistic expectations, because a lot of what you're seeing out here is just not real. Okay. It's just, life has seasons. There's ebb and flow, and you have to be aware, what season am I in? How do I move in that season? Am I in a good season so that I need to be preparing, storing, putting money aside, looking to invest, looking to acquire more skills, more ways to make money? Because if I'm in the summer, the fall and the winter is coming.
That's right.
The cold is coming. Some people sit and roast chestnuts on an open fire in the winter. Some people go up to the Swiss Alps and sip hot cocoa. Some people freeze in the winter. The only difference is what they were doing in the summer. So I know I'm a preacher, so you just got to deal with it, Matt.
Yeah. Wow, so true. So true.
So continue.
Oh, geez, from there, right? So, I at that point, I just said, you know what? I should go get a job, which I haven't done in a long time, right? And these aren't like really great jobs, nothing like that either, right? Like factory work.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking like jobs that pay you maybe 15, 18 bucks an hour. And, but I needed something. I needed some kind of movement for empowerment, because staring at the computer, racking my head all day, trying to figure out how I'm going to pay the bills wasn't working, and literally getting your body in movement, helps. And that was the only way I knew at the time to get my body in movement. And when you get your body in movement, it helps with the mind. I don't know why. The body and the mind are related, right?
It does. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so, I just started doing that, humbled myself again, doing that stuff. But at the time, what I found myself drawn to and really liked was going to yard sales. I'd pick up like a wet dry vac for $5, right? And then I'd sell it on Facebook Marketplace for like $25. And even though it was small money, it felt really good.
And that's still a good return.
To get some kind of movement. You know, that's what we need as entrepreneurs. Is we need movement. We need momentum.
It's so true.
A huge thing for us. So I started doing that, and my wife thought it was just friggin' nuts. You know what I mean? We're doing this, right? And so I just go take the truck, and at the time I had this really nice 2019 Ram 1500 truck, and I go and grab a bunch of crap, chairs and like friggin' tables and mattresses and all kinds of weird stuff. Load it up in the truck, bring it into my garage, and start listing on Facebook. And people come by, bring a little bit of cash and stuff like that. And then it just kind of got into bigger stuff. So I started to get into like fridges and washers and dryers.
I like that.
And then I had a good problem, which was I had more cash than I could like spend. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't as many. I couldn't spend the money fast enough to make back the money.
And you make money when you spend. When you're buying your inventory, that's knowing how to buy.
That's I'm buying a fridge for like $50, $75, and I'm selling it for $200, $250, right? So it doesn't take long when you're doing that, and you don't spend that cash. You just hold on to it and just keep reinvesting. It doesn't take long before it starts to really add up, right? If anybody gets anything from this video, I hope you get something along those lines, because what I'm going to tell you next is, it shows the evolution. So in doing that, then I got into, travel trailers, and because it's just bigger stuff, flipped a couple of trailers, had some good luck with that. Then I did my first car. The car, I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't know crap about cars, right? This is a salvage title car. I called them about 30 minutes away, and I said, yeah, if it drives and you can bring it up here, I'll pay you the full $500 for it. Well, they bring it up on a trailer, would not drive. But I made the mistake of just thinking that it was running, right? Because they said it was a fuel pump or something like that. So I didn't even know what that meant. Like that means the car doesn't run, right? So he loads it on a trailer. I felt bad, he brought it all the way up here. So we had negotiated on a price of like $400.
Okay.
And, it's sitting, this ugly freaking car sitting in front of our beautiful house. My wife is pissed, and it takes like a couple weeks of just, all these messages. Is this still available? You know how it is, right?
Yeah.
And finally somebody comes and looks at it and buys it for like $300. So I lost $100 on it, and it was, a lot of stress and everything like that. And so I didn't get into cars for a while, just kept doing like fridges and stuff like that. But then this woman had posted a car for $100, a Ford, like a Ford Taurus, I think it was. And I thought, well, you know what? The worst case scenario is if I paid $50 for it, I could just, if it doesn't run and drive, I could just have a salvage company pick it up and they'd pay me $150 for it. So I was like, okay, I can't lose. And now looking back, I should have just immediately given her $100, right? But, I didn't know what I know then. So anyway, I get this car for $50, doesn't run, doesn't drive, anything like that. Got to get it out of there. So I have it towed to my house, looked at it, replaced the battery, boom, thing starts right up. That's it. Just to replace the battery, and the tire was low on the air. So fill up the tire, replace the battery, and there you go. So that was like a $270 investment. And then I took that car, listed on Facebook for like $1,200. Someone came in, gave me $1,000 cash within, I think it was like 3 weeks or something like that, maybe 2 weeks. And there you go. So that's how it started with cars. And I was like, wow, that's really cool, and so then I got into more cars, learned a lot, every time I think I got into it, like my second car, I was like, oh man, I'm probably going to lose money on this. Right. And it wasn't, I didn't lose money on it. Made like, $300, something like that. But I learned a lot, from doing that. And I learned which cars are really like the good cars to really spot and go for. And so I just, every once in a while would buy a vehicle along with the washers and dryers and fridges and stuff like that. And so, typically what I started seeing was like, I get a vehicle for, $1,000, $1,500 and sell it for like $2,000, $2,500, somewhere in that range. And so I really, started to like it because it was, it's bigger money. And, the thing is with cars is like, you just never know. Right. So I try to be totally honest with folks and just say, hey, look, I don't know much about this vehicle. But, from what I've seen so far, it's worked out. I always try to be like really diligent as far as, does it have mechanical issues, and what are the mechanical issues versus what are the cosmetic issues. Right. And so I generally target to buy vehicles that have very little mechanical issues or very small mechanical issues, but mainly like cosmetic issues, like, a seat doesn't come back and forth, or, a window doesn't work, all the things, fainted paint on the hood, things like that. And so I started doing that, and I started investing, taking, like I said, all the cash that I have and started investing it back and forth, to where now we have about, I think I'm right now about maybe 8 or 10 cars that we have right now. They're all paid for. We all have the titles for every single one of them. And we're just flipping cars right now. So wow. that's just kind of how it is. So when when you start doing that and you start doing a bigger scale, it's probably a good idea to get a dealer's license, right? Because your state's going to require it. It's all about the money, right? They want their sales tax money. So, so that's what I have now is a dealer's license, so that I buy cars from, Facebook, Craigslist, OfferUp.
So you don't go to the dealer auctions?
No, I do not.
That's a big deal. A lot of times when you hear people talk about getting your dealer's license, they at least in the past, they would talk about the biggest benefit is being able to go to dealer auctions.
Yeah.
Have you gone to any?
Like, I've looked at the auctions and I'm like, how? How are they going to be able to buy that car and actually sell it for a profit? I'll give you an example. To start our business, one of the things that we did was to bring in some more cash. We sold the Ram 1500 truck I was telling you about. right? And we sold it for like $40,000, and they were going to plan on selling it for $4,300 or $43,000. You know what I mean? It's
So
like
they were only going to make like a $3,000.
yeah. But you know, on a big commercial car lot, like that's how they work. That's what they want to do. And to me, that made like no sense whatsoever, right? The kind of return on investment that I'm getting from cars is, you know, I'm selling stuff sometimes 4 times markup. That's rare, right? Usually it's like 1.5 to 2 times markup. But, you know, if you're spending 1,000, you're getting 1,500 back, right? That to me makes sense. Spending 40,000 to get $43,000 back doesn't make sense to me, but
The
it works in
return
their
isn't
business
there.
model. Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting your inventory from places like you mentioned, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, or even I thought you might have even mentioned if you happen to see a house with 5 cars sitting out there, you may
Yeah.
just knock on a door.
Yeah.
But then when it's time to sell the car, you
Yeah.
use the same channels.
Yes. That's correct.
So are you throwing dealer plates on the car, or you don't even get into all of that?
No, well, you gotta, you know, if you're gonna have like if you're a dealer and you're gonna have people test driving your vehicle, yeah, you want to put a dealer plate on it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But it's like my wife helped me make it. It was a magnet. It's back there. I can show you, but it's like a
Yeah,
magnet. You just take it off and on the cars. You know.
and essentially you don't have the upkeep, the maintenance, the management of a lot per se, like with an office or anything. You
Yeah,
kind of function like anybody on Facebook, yet
yeah,
you're
it's
a
funny
dealer.
because you know Utah, the minimum requirements, right, is a permanent structure that you need with an area that you know you could park 3 cars.
Okay.
So I have a dirt gravel lot, and I have literally a shed as my office. No electricity, and like that. It's literally there to fulfill a requirement to say that, you know, this is the minimum requirement to be a permanent structure.
Okay. Was it difficult getting your dealer's license? Did you have to get bonded?
You got to jump through a couple of hoops. It's not too bad. You got to jump through some hoops. You got to get set up with commercial insurance. You got to get a surety bond. You do a fingerprint with like the sheriff's department. I'm trying to remember. It's been a little bit.
Do you need to I guess it would be good if you became a notary, or you could just utilize any notary.
So, you know, it's going to vary by state, right? Here we don't necessarily need a notary to transfer, like you're talking about reassigning the title, that type of thing.
And registration, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, maybe in your state that's something that you should do, but it's not required here where I am at.
This is great, man.
Yeah.
But you know, but I know you got to go, but and there's other things I want to talk about. But before we go any further, we're going to put it in the description. What is your YouTube channel that you're? I can't think of the name. Is it just Matt Gunnifson or?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is still the same. It's at the Transformation Couple.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, but I've also added the Matt Gunnifson. So to be perfectly honest with you, I'm in the middle of transforming the channel.
Okay.
And so, you know, it wouldn't let me change like the URL. You know,
okay.
So probably if you search Transformation Couple, you know, that would probably pop it up. But I've also changed it to the Matt Gunnifson. I talked to Sherry, and she's like, "Yeah, just go with it on this channel."
Okay. And then you have
taken it over.
You've got a website as well. We're going to put that in the description. What's your website?
Yeah, so it's just my name, mattgunnifson.com.
Mattgunnifson.com. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
That's pretty cool, man. You have, to me, a super and amazing story. But on a monthly basis, what type of revenue would you average? You know,
so revenue, you know, we're probably looking at 18 to 25,000 or so per month.
Okay.
Yeah, and so a profit though is what I really pay attention to.
Right.
And usually doing about 10,000 profit. Last month was slow. We did like 8,000 profit. So $8,000 to $10,000 profit is what we're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, with the current model. So it's a nice little side hustle, you know what I mean? And it's definitely part-time. Like, I just let my cars just kind of sit on the lot. Somebody calls or sends a message. That's when I go meet with them, but I don't hang out the lot all day. And so mainly my time is spent, you know, looking for good deals, right? That's
Right.
where, you know, that's where you find them is if you're really fast on the scene, that's where you can find the really good deal. So that's how the time is really spent. And, you know, right now I'm just kind of like looking at what else there is, like, you know, what can I do with this extra time, this extra energy? Definitely, you know, for me, it's working on myself, right?
Okay,
I'm sure for a lot of
that
us
is
can
cool.
relate. Yeah.
Let me add a little something that I can talk about because I had a short foray into the used car business.
Yeah.
And guys, I just want to let you know you can be creative. I I went to a dealer. Now I was in my 30s. I went to a dealer and he wasn't doing so hot. And I said to him, "Hey, look, you got all these cars out here. Why don't you let me try to help you sell them through my own channels? And I'll close the deal. I want 20% of the profit." And he said, "Yeah." And I ended up getting into detailing the cars, listing them where I wanted to list them, arranging for the test drive, and it was really, really fun. Looking back on it, I think I should have gone ahead and gotten my dealer's license. Now you're talking circa 2005, 2006. This is going back a ways. But what I will say, and I don't know how you feel about this, I'm a people person. So it was fun meeting buyers and sellers and particularly getting into their stories because they will talk to you and tell you why they're buying this car. It's for my grandson. It's for this. I lost my job. That's why I'm selling it. This happened. People will tell you their stories. And if you're personable, you pretty much got the sale because people do business with people that they feel good about. Everything that we're doing in this world boils down to feeling. And so working class hustlers or anybody that's watching this, if you know you're a people person, if you know you constantly yapping like me, this would be a good field for you to get into. It's a people type. You have to deal with people. There's no other way around it, you know. So what would you say to that? Are you really talking to these people?
Oh, I 100% agree with you, right? Where we make our decisions from is often emotional based, right? And emotional relates to connection, right? So if we really connect with the people, it's hard, you know, it's hard to step away, you know, and even if like if I'm offering like way below what they were thinking, you know, I have cash and we've built that connection, you know, it's hard to break that connection, you
Right.
know,
And you don't know
and
where it
selling
could lead
vehicles.
to. You don't
Yeah.
know that person that sold you a car may have access to more cars, may have another person. If they like you, you can be getting referrals, or you know, you never know. A year later, they got another car. This is how it's be interested in other people's stories because people love to tell their stories.
Yes.
But
Yeah. I
yeah, man,
agree with you.
is is there I mean, there's just so much we could talk about, but before I let you go, I want to kind of give you the floor. You've been an entrepreneur for a long time. If there's one thing that you would want to share to the working class hustlers, just overall as an entrepreneur, a bit of advice for the long haul, because it's not a sprint. You're going to be an entrepreneur. You're in a marathon. What would be a bit of advice you could give us, you know, to encourage us for the long haul? That is entrepreneurialism, if you will.
Well, you put me on the spot there, man. Yeah, that's a good question. You know, it's something I could probably tell myself, like just I would tell anybody else, is to embrace the failure. You know, it's
Mm,
hard, right? When you're in those moments and you're having the downs and things aren't going well and you feel like crap, and you know, it's hard to keep that in perspective that failure is actually part of it. It's actually natural. It's actually necessary. You
yes.
know, you know, as they tell the story, Thomas Edison, right, had to fail so many times before he, you know, created the incandescent light bulb. I think that's how it
Hmm.
goes.
Yeah.
So failure is absolutely necessary, and if you can give yourself some grace, you know, give yourself some compassion, you're going to do a lot better. And just understand that, you know, it's necessary. You have to fail, and it's okay. You know, and it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means that you tried something and it didn't work the way you expected or hoped it to go. And you can actually learn from that to win the successes, to have the success, and it's usually right after failure.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to say to my audience, working class hustlers, pay attention to what Matt's doing right now with cars. And the reason why is this: you follow me, so you're all about Amazon. Getting into used cars allows you to get in at your pace. You don't have to shove everything in, give up Amazon necessarily, and just get into that. You can do it. And if you do like what Matt's saying, he gave us a situation where he was able to pay $100 for a car. Those deals are out there. You just got to be ready. You're doing Amazon, so you got something going. Keep your eyes open. Be ready for other opportunities, especially ones that will allow you to put your toe in the water, right? You don't have to buy 10 cars. You don't have to run out and get your dealer's license. Most states will let you transfer in and out of your name like 5 times a year. That's more than enough time for you to prove to yourself that the business model works. We have to get around, guys. It's a necessity, unless you're in one of these metropolis, type places. And it really isn't that many in America. So a lot of us that are watching this channel, you could do well, given the fact that we all have to get around. We got to get to work. We need to be mobile. So, so Matt, I mean, can you expound on that just a little bit? How easy is it for us to get started? How much money do we need? What's a realistic expectation?
Yeah, great questions. One thing I wanted to add before I forgot was,
okay.
Like you said, you can sell like 5 vehicles to get started. A lot of states will allow that. Check with your state what that is, right? And don't title skip. Just put your name on the title, right? That's considered a misdemeanor. And the other thing I wanted to add about that, though, too, was that, if your spouse is cool with it, too, she can sell some cars. You know what I mean?
That's another 5 or whatever. Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah. So, yeah, but like basically what I'm pointing to is what you're saying is with anything, you always want to start. I mean, I always kind of feel like you want to start small, dip your toes in. Like you don't want to just jump in head first because you don't have the confidence. You don't have the knowledge. You always want to start with like, hey, and this is how I started was, hey, it's probably going to be okay if I lose that money. Will I be okay if I lose that money? Yeah. If worse comes to worse and I only make like, if I only lose like a couple $100 with it, will it be okay? Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I have a vehicle right now that, I spent $300 on and it's at the shop right now. I don't know what's wrong with it. So it could be like a really small problem and it could be a great profitable deal. Or, the reality is it might be a vehicle that may have to just sell it as is, that somebody would come and repair themselves. But either way, it's only $300. It's a nice 2010 Dodge Journey with 150,000 miles. So it was very low risk, So I always recommend starting that way. Always start with, they call it a-slanted, I think it's called a-slanted risk. So it's like something that, the upside is really huge on if it goes well, but the downside is really small if it doesn't go well. And so that is absolutely the way I would start. What would you start with? I would say it depends on the area. See, what I like to do is I like to pay attention to what are people responding to, how quickly are things being bought, and at what price point. So I try to find that information out before actually making a purchase. So I would say in your area, try to find out that information. That's going to give you an idea. Maybe, for you, what's comfortable is $300 or $500, or maybe what's comfortable for you is $2,000. I don't know, right. But I would definitely start with an amount that's comfortable with you, that you understand the risks and you understand that, well, if worse comes to worse, how much would you actually end up losing?
Right. Now I can tell you where I live, probably one of the greatest concentration of redneck hunters that you ever want to meet. So I can't lose with a pickup truck. I already know that. Yes. That's what sells well in my area.
Yeah.
That everybody drives them. I don't care what make, model. They just love pickup trucks. I
Yeah.
know I'm going to sell it. The question is,
Yeah.
what am I going to learn in the process?
Yeah.
And if I could add something more to the audience that you could, I really want your take on this. And I don't think business people talk about it enough. Success in business does not mean you make a profit on every deal. Success in business means you have more successful deals than you have bad deals. But being in business, you're going to have profit and loss. That's why it's called a P&L statement. Okay. At the end, what did you invest? And at the end, like for example, in a given year, what did you invest? And what was your bottom line? What did you take? That's being successful in business does not mean you're confined and restricted to only making a profit on every single deal. You're going to have some bad deals. And a lot of these gurus and, pundits or whatever, they want to make it seem like every deal is a success. That's not what it is. And if you don't believe me, go learn something about the job that you work at, the one that makes you feel like a check is guaranteed every week. They're not making money on every deal. You want to talk about Amazon being worth $2 trillion, upwards $3 trillion. They lose on some of the deals that they do. You haven't heard of half the things that Amazon failed at trying. Okay, Apple and whatever these other big gurus, Microsoft, they don't always make money, but on every single deal, but yet they're still successful because they have more wins than losses. And I think what they don't talk about is it's the losses where they really learned. So can you add something to that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Specifically in the car business, if you want to hear about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a Toyota that got 45 minutes away. I could see that it was leaking oil from the top. I think it was the valve cover gasket or something like that. And I was like, you know what? It's going to be okay. I'm going to drive it up the hill about 45 minutes. It's going to be fine. Get it there, and then I'll fix that valve cover gasket. Well, sure enough, halfway up the hill, that engine blew out. And so that was something I wasn't expecting. And then, then I'm trying to figure out how to get a new engine for it, and then who's going to put it in and all that. So, that was an example of a vehicle that I lost money on. And believe me, it was a big sock to the stomach, because things like that don't happen. But overall, the vehicle that one of my best deals, was a truck that I picked up for $5,000 and sold it for $11,000. So that was amazing. I hardly ever see a deal like that. It was my best deal, Mm-hmm. So the two balance each other out, and right. I think what's thrilling about it is the opportunities when it does really work out really well. That's what keeps me going, I guess, right?
All right, man. Well, I know you got plenty of work to do. I got to go pack out. I do mostly merchant fulfilled on Amazon, so I got to get stuff ready before UPS picks up, and I got to drop off. I'm working a regular job. The working class hustlers know I got laid off from a 21-year job as a truck driver at Yellow Freight. Did you hear about that, Matt? Yellow Freight going out of business?
Well, no, I just heard about it from you, actually.
Okay, yeah. 100-year-old company, 30,000 employees laid off. So, and you know what, guys? If you've been watching, if you've noticed, since that layoff, I'm more active. I'm out here, and I've decided to use that tragic situation as a launch board and say, hey, what can I do to turn those lemons into lemonade? And I realize it's been so far one of the best things to ever happen to me. I ended up getting another job, $10 raise right off the bat. You guys, I refer to you all as working class hustlers. If you follow my business model, you really have a regular job. I've never gotten rid of my job. I'm one of those guys that likes a job and a side hustle. There's nothing wrong with that. But, the options that Matt is talking about, I plan on getting into this because I like the used car business. Guys, you got to think about this. This is how my mind works. If I sold 5 cars a year, the law of averages, at least 3 of those should turn out to be good deals. And hey, you might end up with an extra $10,000. What could you do with that? In addition to everything you're doing, and it's not going to take that much time. You might find that you like it. You might find out that you love it. And, you owe it to yourself to at least give it a try if you've got any interest in it. Shout out to my truck drivers out there. A lot of you guys are looking for extra ways to make money. We're going to, Matt, if you would be so gracious, we're going to ask you to return to the show, so that we can do a follow-up, see how your business is going. And there's just so much more that I want to tap from your experiences, man. You've been doing this for a long time, and I know you have a lot of value that you could add. So I'm going to ask you to commit right now. Will you come back?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. And thank you for that. Really appreciate that.
All right, guys, hustlers, we're going to put all of Matt's information down in the description. I'm going to be visiting his website because I want to see, I took a quick look at it, and I really like it. I've always loved your content, though. I've always loved your stories. And most importantly, I've always loved you and Sherry's transparency. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. Any parting words?
No, I just want to thank you so much for inviting me to your channel, and really grateful for that. And yeah, that's basically it for me. Thank you so much.
All right, Matt, on behalf of the working class hustles of America and all across the globe, we bid you adieu.